Hello, my amazing artists. Welcome to another Art with me, Miss Taub. We are going to be drawing snowmen today, but before we can draw our snowmen, I did want to talk to you about something, and that something is called point of view. Point of view tells us who is looking through the camera lens or who's drawing the photo. So when we look at these pictures that I'm going to show you, I want you to think about who took this picture and where were they when they took it. Now, they are photographs, but we can also do a similar thing with art, which is what we're going to be doing later. But first, let's take a look at some of these photographs. Who do you think took this picture? Maybe it was somebody in a helicopter or a plane, or maybe it was someone's drone flying over the city. Can anyone tell what city this is? This is New York City. I can tell because I see Central Park. That means that across the river there is New Jersey. What about this photograph? If animals could take photographs, what kind of animal would have snapped this picture? If you said a bird or an eagle, that would be right. This point of view is called a bird's eye view because a bird could have taken these pictures. What about this one? This lucky bird lives in Disneyland. And I haven't been to Disneyland in so long, but he probably sees some amazing light shows. Let's look at a snowman in bird's eye view. How can you tell that this snowman is even in this picture? If you said because you see his nose and his arms and his little eyes, that would be right. I also want you to look at the snow. Snow is white, but this snow has some grays and some blues. It shows value, and value is something that you could add to your picture too. So these are called bird's eye view photographs. But we're not going to be making bird's eye view pictures. We're going to be making something else. Oh, look at this photograph. What kind of animal would have taken this picture? If you said an ant or a bug or a worm, you would be right. This worm is looking up at its object. And what about this one? You may have seen a similar picture to this if you've ever laid under a tree. A worm could have taken this picture too, or even a squirrel, if squirrels could take pictures, that is. Here's another one. Now, this animal would probably have to be one that lives in the city, maybe a rat or a pigeon. This pigeon is not flying though, right? But we know that humans took all of these pictures. Here's a snowman from a worm's eye view. I want you to notice a few things. Some of the details, how they made their smile, maybe how the scarf is laid around them, and I want you to look at his little carrot nose. It's pointing upwards, which is going to be a really, really important detail that you're going to have to add in your snowman. Here's a couple examples of some other snowmen by other students in worm's eye view. All right, my friends.
To create our worm's eye view snowman, you are going to need 2 circles for tracing. I have 1 large and 1 small. You're also going to want to have a pair of scissors and a pencil and eraser. I also have a Sharpie because I like to show clean, crisp lines in my artwork, and then whatever you want to use to color with. I'm going to just be using crayons, but if you want to paint or use oil pastels or markers, that is up to you because not only are you the artist, but you might have different materials at home. Once you have all of your materials, we're going to take that paper and we're going to turn it on its side. What we're first going to do is turn this rectangle-shaped paper into a square-shaped paper. You might have done this if you've ever made paper snowflakes. We're going to make a diagonal fold by taking this upper corner and folding it down to about here. What we're really doing is matching up the sides exactly. So when you fold your paper over, you don't want to crease it until you have it right in the right spot. Then you can have one hand hold the paper down while the other hand goes to about the center and folds back and forth to make your crease. Once it's folded nice and neat, you can take your scissors and trim off that long skinny rectangle and then unfold your paper so you have a beautiful square. Ta-da! This will create our artwork in a very symmetrical way. Now it's time to get your bigger of the two circles to trace by cropping it off your page. What that means is not the entire circle will be fitting onto your corner. You want to actually match the corner a little bit past center of your circle. So you'll notice in the last one where I don't put it all the way up, you want to kind of match the center of your circle with the corner. And then you're going to trace it in all four of your corners. Then you want to find your smaller of the two circles. So first I used this cup, but I realized it was a little bit too big. And when you trace, you want to start from your first circle that you drew, and you don't want to go over top of it. So there is going to be part of the circle that you do not want to trace. Then you will see that you have all of the heads of your snowman, and it looks like they're looking down. Now it's time for the fun part, adding all of the creative details that you can come up with for your snowman. There is, however, one rule. The only rule for adding details for your snowman is that you must have eyes, nose, mouth, and arms, and your nose has to be a triangle that's pointing up. The reason that your triangle nose or your carrot nose is pointing up is because that will give it the illusion that we are using a worm's eye view point of view, right? So if your triangle's to the side, it's not going to look like we're on the floor looking up at our snowman. So make sure that your triangle noses are all pointing up, but all of the other details are up to you. Whatever types of hats you want to use, if you want to give your snowman a shirt or an apron, think of shapes. What shapes could you use for the eyes? If they're not a circle, they could be a triangle or a square. All of that extra stuff, that is up to you. You are the artist, and you get to show me how creative you really are. For your twig arms, you want to keep in mind that they're not all going to be the same, and they're not going to be perfect because trees and twigs aren't perfect or the same. So they're pretty fun to draw. I do wish that I had remembered that in our story a lot of our snowmen had mittens on their hands. Maybe that's something that you guys could add that I had forgotten. Time for my favorite part, super speedy fast mode. Here you will see me adding all of my details using a pencil first. That is because I knew that I was probably going to make a few mistakes or want to change the shapes that I was drawing before I traced all of my lines using a black Sharpie. If you don't have a black Sharpie, maybe you could use a black crayon, a black pen, or even a black marker. A regular marker would work too. But I think it really gives that clean, crisp look of a finished artwork that you spent the time to draw. If you used Sharpie, marker, or pen, you could erase your pencil lines afterwards. But don't erase your pencil lines if you used crayon because that is actually going to smear it. And we definitely don't want that. When I go to add color to my snowman, you're going to notice that I used a light blue in one side of my snowman's body and head. And that's because that shows something called value. Value is when a color is light or dark. So this shows where the sun is in our artwork. Value is another element of art that creates things that look more realistic. So by adding that blue value in my snowman, I'm really showing how light hits an object. Then, of course, I had to add a rainbow hat and a rainbow scarf. But again, we are all different artists, so all of these important decisions will be made by you. And I cannot wait to see how creative you get with this. Oh, one more thing. I did decide to add black to the sky because we had read Snowmen at night, but I forgot to add snowflakes. Maybe that's something you'll want to add to your artwork. Don't forget to sign your name at the bottom so everyone knows whose amazing artwork this is, and to send me a picture in Google Classroom so you get the credit. Have fun with this, and I'll see you soon.